Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 2 of the Minnesota Legend podcast. I am your host this week. I am BJ Loveless, co-owner, along with my friend, partner in crime, Axel Raven, defensive end for now.
How are y'all doing?
And and alongside us this week we have Nicholas Frossil, rookie cornerback. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good.
And last but certainly not least, in my esteemed nickname that I've given him, our tight end, Viva the France, Big Daddy Cool, Jason France. How you doing, brother?
How we doing, gentlemen?
You're doing good.
Again, welcome back to the podcast. We did have a week hiatus as everyone was returning from the convention and kind of taking a deep breath and breathing in what happened at the convention in week 1. Then week 2 happened, and we've kind of enveloped all of that. Now the season is on a roll, and we're moving forward very fast, fellas.
That is absolutely true. It's funny how, like, all of a sudden we're preparing for week 3.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. But
yeah.
We are gonna take a trip down memory lane very quickly for everyone. Well, in a little bit in depth, so we're gonna start back with rivalry game week 1 at the convention. For all of us, it was week 1 versus Indy for the Minnesota faithful. That is our rival in the Central Division.
I start to call that into question at this point because it's not even a back and forth situation anymore.
Shots fired.
Big shots fired. So first, we're going to start off with it being obviously convention weekend. It is one of the biggest moments of our year as the SFL goes. So I know myself, Axel, Jason came in on basically a red eye run from where he lives to Ohio for the convention. The Meerkats were there. Ron Mississippi was there. Our mascot Nicky Malello was there as well. He is a character. I just want to kind of start with everyone's feeling of the convention and how the weekend went for those who attended, and kind of just sell what the convention does for you as far as how you stand in the community, and for those who have never been, kind of explain like, damn, this is the thing to do in this community every year if you can.
I'll start off just because of the fact you pointed out that there was some last minute travel arrangements that I made to get there, and the point is that I couldn't not go. I had planned on going early on after the announcement. Some things came up. I decided that wasn't going to work out, and literally Friday night, 9 o'clock, I'm out the door, driving about 12 hours to Cincinnati, because the more I thought about it, the more I just couldn't not go. I was at the Vegas convention last year. Meeting the people that you see and interact with and hear from and hear about every day, to put those people, a name to a face, a real life person, is something that you can't discount as a player in this league, an owner in this league, a coach, whatever your situation is in the league. Putting that person to that character or to that persona is something that's amazing as far as keeping up in the community. And so, yeah, like you said, BJ, red-eyed it in, got there about 45 minutes before our game started on Saturday morning. And just the aspect, the fact that we kicked off the day of games, and we had probably, it was 1 and 2 as far as team attendance at the convention this year.
Yep.
We filled it up. They had the room split down the middle. Obviously us on one, Indy on the other. and we were loud. If you have watched that game, you know that that's the case. Both sides of the ball, we were loud. Indy was loud. The environment was insane, and I don't think it was matched by any other game that was broadcast at the convention. It's one thing to sit in your living room or to sit at your desk and watch a game and holler for the team, holler for your player. But to do it in an environment where there's 40, 50 people in a room all watching the same game, team versus team, it brings it to an entirely different level. It's as close as you're going to get to going and watching a live game of your favorite team in any other league. This is as close as you're going to get to experiencing that in the SFL, and that's something that you get that once a year, and it's at the convention, and that I think is one of the biggest things for me, is being able to sit down, watch that game with a whole bunch of people that have a vested interest in how that game turns out as well. And then again, like I said, meeting those people, seeing a lot of behind the scenes stuff that the league does, and just having a good time for a couple of days with people that have at least one like interest with you, is amazing. And the fact that the league does such a good job putting it on every year, at least every year that I've been now, 2 consecutive years in a row, is a testament to the fact that people show up, people enjoy it, so they're going to continue to put the effort into it.
Agreed. Axel?
Yeah, so Jason did a good job of explaining sort of the hype that the hour and a half or so of the game took place, and it really was. It was so exciting to watch us come out victors with 69 points on the board over Indy, but also nice. Having been at the Las Vegas one, I'd say this year, with it being a little bit more of a close proximity or locale, most of everything happened within the hotel itself. We were able to walk a block or two for some food and things. Meals were provided for on both of the main nights. There was just a lot more camaraderie. There's a lot more social connection that was taking place. A lot more just growing together as a team or growing together as a league from other members that you're sort of having conversations with, having dinner with. I feel it, if you're part of a family, typically families sit down together. They sit at the table, have meals together, converse, and that kind of thing. And I feel that's what we were able to do for a lot of that. Or there was thankfully the hotel had a nice happy hour. Many people took advantage of that and mingled and had a lot of fun there. We were the hotel also provided free breakfast, so there was early morning sharing of meals as well. So it was great being able to just be in the atmosphere of the SFL, and I think that this location did that a lot more than the Las Vegas one did. Plus, I think because of, as Jason said and as you've said, there were so many represented of our team and many others of the teams in the Central Division or just across the league that we were able to be part of, more so than I think that there was in Las Vegas.
I think it's cool that you brought up the whole family aspect of sitting down together, sharing a meal together, because then in the evening we wound up having a huge game night in the hotel lobby area. There was a massive Jenga set that was set up. A group of people went and bought 7 or 8 different board games of varying degrees of intensity, and we had 2 or 3 tables set up that was going on. There were probably 15 to 18 people all playing board games at the end of the night one night. So that fits back into that family aspect.
Yeah, and to piggyback off both what you guys said, and this being my first convention, although I've been in the league the longest and I've come across so many different personalities and establish relationships, and getting to see those people for the first time was big for me. And seeing the Hall of Fame, guys go in the Hall of Fame and actually like lighten up for this honor in assembly. While to some it may seem crazy, but like seeing T-Roy get his recognition in his hometown, seeing Ashley get her recognition, Torillo get his recognition, Robert Redford get his recognition, Norwood get his recognition, and just the Hall of Fame was a different. It was a different feel. But then when those games kicked on, like everybody, we've all been in this league long enough to where it like turned it on for all of us, and it was almost like a high in the room. Not only because we won our game Saturday, but like in general, you could just feel that energy and that anticipation for the season kicking off. In assembly, where the room full of people who invest so much time, so much energy, so much emotion into this thing, and you could just feel it in that room, and it was crazy. And that's the one thing that it's a high that you chase in this league. That if you can get to a convention, 100%, I say do it at least once. If you can get there and experience this. Like, we had a bunch of first timers. We had the Meerkats. We had Brett Killian, who came down from Canada.
Yep.
A bunch of people that just showed up and said, hell, we're just going to experience this. And I think they all can agree that it's an experience in this league, in this community, that is just second to a very few. And I wasn't at the Vegas convention, but being in Cincinnati, it felt more personable and more family oriented. I mean, Vegas has a lot of attractions and bells, whistles, and, you know, a big circus. It's Vegas, but it almost takes away from the moment the league is trying to have together.
Yep.
And it was like 100. It was 100 and something people, but in Vegas, you got so much other things to do that kind of disperses after a while, or people go and run into the pool. But this was like more intense. Majority of the group is at the bar. Majority of the group are in the room watching the game. It was just more oriented to what we were trying to accomplish and keeping attention on.
It's kind of like when you go on vacation with your family and you go to Disney versus going to grandma's house. You go to Disney and you're constantly going, lights, sounds, all that, right? And then the whole thing feels slightly disconnected. You go to grandma's house for vacation, everybody hangs out, it's chill, it's still fun, you still go out and you do things, but you don't feel so, well, like I said, disconnected.
And not to keep Frossil disconnected, because unfortunately Frossil didn't get to attend, but man, like, I would definitely say to go, if you can, if it comes to your region of the country and you have the time to do it, I say do it. Take the family, enjoy it, because people had their kids there too. So I mean, it's a family thing. Yep. People have.
Just be careful. You'll be compelled to go again and again once you go the first time.
I definitely agree to that.
If I do it next year, though, I'm leaving the family at home.
I can't argue there.
On the flip side, because you guys didn't experience this, it was nice watching a stream, because I think we had so many Minnesota and Chad there and such that, you know, during our game I would hear a lot of, you know, hooting and hollering and Roz and Nose, and so it was kind of fun to listen to the streams and everybody and seeing and being able to hear an audience almost.
Yeah, and that's something that I did watch back and hear in the background. Like, yeah, we were live for the game. So, really quick, we're just gonna review what happened in the Indy game. Obviously, for those who did see the game or didn't see the game, we brought out the Indy special with the stadium upgrades, the uniform upgrades that have been talked about across all SFL content creation platforms. The final score was, what was it, 69-24?
I think so.
That is a legend high in points, 100%. It was built on the back of Colin Hart, 312 yards, 7 total touchdowns. Axel, I know you're big into the game planning. What went into that without giving away too much?
Sure. Let's see. So we knew that Indy coming in only had 3 defensive linemen, and I feel like their linebacker core wasn't quite as tough. So I think we wanted to have a balanced attack. We wanted to do sort of like the death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. We had no, obviously we've been planning for this game since the schedule came out early June. So we had been throwing a lot of, 7, 8, 9 different types of playbooks at this with minor variations in between all of those, and we picked the one that we saw the best results from. And by best results, I mean, can easily score 30 or 40 points. And hold Indy to low 20s, which we did. We 24 is on the lower lower side, the lower half of the 20s. But we did not see the 69 in any of our sims. So whatever they did and what brought to us week 1 on defense seemed to work really well in our favor. So Jason, you were saying during the game itself, face to face, we're like, it's not like we're going to hang 60 points on you, and then it ended up coming up to 60 points, and at that point we were just sort of like apologizing to them almost for stomping them so hard. So yeah,
I did honestly. I felt bad at one point that I was kind of rooting for them to get something going because everybody likes a close football game, and I kind of made an empty promise too. But yeah.
It was pretty hilarious.
So that led us to 1-0 for spectacular performances by the defense, by the offense, and as we move on to week 2, Alamo City, the artillery. We're on the road for the first time in the season, and they came off a 1-0 victory against Vancouver, I believe. So it was like an early meeting of powerhouses, and I mean playoff contenders, as most have dubbed both teams. And it was a rematch from our wild card playoff game, where they held us to a score of 20-3. So a lot of guys and girls around the locker room were anticipating the Alamo City game.
Yep. Looking at how they built their team with the amounts that they paid their different players, seeing the value that they put on Brad Jones, and he wasn't used quite as much, and similarly their passing, they didn't impress me as much in their Vancouver game as I was expecting out of the gate. But again, it was week 1, and it sounds like there may or may not have been some playbook shenanigans in some way back or forth. That set aside, and I knew I couldn't really base what we brought to them on just that performance alone. So that had to do some educated guesstimates as to what they might be doing. And even though we lost 21-28, I still feel very, very proud that the game that we were able to bring to them, the defense that we were able to bring, and I think we held their passing down, I think 40% completion rate, and only like 100 and some yards. Brad Jones I don't want to say mostly in the fourth quarter, came out and was able to get the better of us for a little bit, but I think for the first 3 quarters we held him pretty well. They had a lucky kick return for a touchdown that gives them that 7-point advantage that we didn't have. And we struggled in the first half with completing our drives. There were 2 drives that we had to settle for. We were like what, 4th and goal. We had to kick a field goal because we couldn't get it pounded in. They had our run game pretty well scouted, and really, we still were able to earn some yardage, but it wasn't anything like week 1.
Yeah,
it was definitely one of those games that never felt out of reach for anybody, us in particular. We were always on the edge of making something happen. Obviously frustrating in and of itself, but
So I have a quick question for you, Axel, or
Yeah.
even BJ. So my mind just went blank. It's about special
Mm.
teams, I think. Oh, yeah. Okay, I think I remember. So was that a fluke? So I feel like I've been seeing a lot of good runs in this game. So run back from kickoffs. So my
Mhm.
question would be, from the first week to the second week, I saw a lot of adjustments for rushing. So we didn't see a lot of as much rushing as we saw the first week. Other adjustments that people can make on special teams where we might not see as good of run, because I think we had a few like run back for touchdowns. We had a bunch that had some nice run backs that maybe weren't touchdowns but were still nice run backs. So I wonder if there's stuff we can maybe do to pump up and compensate on a special team side.
Like
Yeah,
defending or on offense?
Yeah, defending.
defending.
Defending. Yeah, I think speed, if you can get down there faster, agility obviously helps with acceleration and the ability to move directions side to side. Obviously, moving, being able to shift direction. If a runner's coming at you and they juke you to go to one side, you'll be better off running to that side, adjusting direction. Let's see. Um, Strength, if you're able to, I think so. You're going to be blocked by defenders or by the people trying to block you to provide openings for the runner. The stronger you are, the better option or the better availability you're going to be able to shed those blocks faster. So that's another big thing. Consistency. I think that just overall is a good trait to boost you up there, to allow that all of your other traits to shine through more regularly. Sorry, I'm just looking through the traits that are up right now on my screen. I'm not sure if I really doubt that run coverage, pass rush, or coverage, any of that plays into this. Tackling, obviously, I think allows you to, if you can get to the player, you can take them down a little bit better if you have better tackle. And again, that's where strength comes in as well. But again, speed and agility to get to that player, and strength and tackle to shed blocks and to take that player down are really the two things, or the two aspects, I guess.
how much of it do you suppose too is just the new platform weighing punt and kick returns a little heavier?
Hmm.
The old platform.
That's what I was about to jump into. Like, it just may be something that this platform may lean into a little more, simply because we saw Florida get 2 kick returns in their game in week 2 by 2 different players. So it just may be something the game leans into more.
And I think,
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking because so for an example with the first week rushing, we all know that rushing is more prevalent in this game, but
Hmm.
people in the second week tend or looked at things and made adjustments, and I feel like the rush was defended a little bit better in the second week than it was in
mhm.
the first week. So I was thinking maybe similar with special teams. So I'm not in on game planning or anything like that. So I guess my question would be, for an example, if it's like a real NFL team, I don't think like starters like Gronkowski or big names, Trevor Kelsey. Like I don't know if he's on special teams. Do we put all the main starters on special teams? Do you not? Like I wonder if there's like adjustments people can make so the offensive side of a kick return is maybe doesn't do as well in the third week or the fourth week.
Yeah, I think in general, it's the balance, because if you're out on special teams, that player is running down the field, and then having to either tackle somebody or gets blocked, and is using a lot of their stamina, which is a finite resource, that gets drained over the course. And if you are the defender on a kick return, let's say, that defense, though the defense is going to be out there on the field right after that for the next play, and so you run the risk of your defensive players being a little bit pooped, on that first play, and unable to, maybe get that gain that they might have needed versus being fresh on that first play. So again, that's where I think having solid backups, some depth in that defensive charts. So you'll probably see myself being a third defensive end, maybe Brookie Burr out there as well, more by default. Lower end, or not lower end, lower in the defense, or the depth chart. Cornerbacks and linebackers. So like Jason Clay might be out there for a field goal block or some other different places and things. So.
Yeah, I agree. It was a close loss. We did have the lead in the fourth quarter. Alamo City came down and tied it again, and got the go-ahead touchdown from Kendra Wells to take the victory back to San Antonio. Mm-hmm. Any other final thoughts on either of the first two games that we played?
I just had one. I noticed. I feel like in APF, maybe tight ends weren't used as much. I mean, I don't have as much experience as you guys with it. It's nice to see. I feel like tight ends are getting a lot more plays in the new game. And I mean, France had a really good game in the second game, so that was fun to see. And I've always been partial to tight ends. I like Gronkowski, Kelsey. I've always liked that position on a field for getting pass catching. So it's nice to see their volumes go up a little bit. So that's something I noticed in France.
I always have good game.
Yeah. France is one of the few, at least since we've gotten him, that he was a focal point in APF and seems to still be eaten on this platform. But it went from varying degrees of teams getting tight end usage to now it's more of a wider spread net of guys are getting more touches at the tight end position. Eddie Gage isn't complaining as much that Will Todd's going to leave at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But tight ends are definitely getting a more wider range of, love and receptions and action on the field. So Good observation, though.
And, this game itself with, there's 32 different playbooks, and majority of them all run or have a 6 to 8 heavy sets, whether that's jokers and jacks and strong eye jacks and, pro formations, anything that pulls a base formation or different ace play formations. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of time that the tight ends are spending out on the field. And in this new game, we do not have the ability to delete formations that are in the game, the team's playbook that we choose. And so, whereas in APF, we could pretty much remove, if we wanted to, all of, I formation or whatever, and just go with, wide receiver, four wide receiver sets if we wanted to, or 3 wide receiver sets. We don't have that choice anymore. So you're seeing a lot more, force based on the game breadth of everything from heavy sets to 5 wide receiver sets. So
I didn't know that. So if that's true, like you can't delete the team's playbooks, when they were giving out team playbooks, was there like a bidding process?
No, you get every week you get to pick which one you want to field.
Okay.
Or which one you want to start with, whether that's anywhere from the 49ers on one end to the Vikings on the other end. You get to, pick and choose. So when I mentioned like we were going through 7, 8, 9 different playbooks, we were starting with 7, 8, 9 different teams' playbooks to see, because each playbook has different tendencies on how they handle run and passes and tight end usage and etc. So a lot of variation.
Yeah, it's more of a and with playbooks, say for example, we start with the Cardinals. You can start with their playbook. They have certain formation packages and you can't delete those formations out of their playbook, but you can limit them all the way down to 1 pass play, 1 run play. That's one thing that the game limits us to, and you have to build inside of that formation. So whatever plays the game has in that formation, you can add. It may not necessarily be in that Cardinals playbook from the beginning, but you can add and take away, but you cannot delete the formation.
Yep.
So that's why we have the wider range of choosing what you'll hear around the league as a base book and building from there.
Now cue the NBC. The more you know.
The more you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's new for all of us. So you're going to see hiccups along the way across the league in year one, and it's all a learning experience for all coaches, owners, players, etc. But with the first 2 weeks in the past, the Legends sit at 1-1, and we are returning to Northwood Stadium. You'll see Northwood Stadium return to its original form as intent from its inception in 2K4, as we take on the San Diego Mavericks. San Diego is also 1-1 after defeating Sioux Falls, the Sparrows,
Yes.
a Central Division rival and headache usually. 33-10. I think San Diego finished last week with 8. Was it 8 interceptions or 8 turnovers?
8 interceptions, I believe. 3 players got 2 interceptions throughout, so that's 6, and then 2 other players had single interceptions. And then Sioux Falls had 2 interceptions themselves, so 10 picks throughout the entire game.
And I believe they lost to Arizona in week 1. The final score of that game was, just a second, 35-30. Those guys in San Diego will definitely hold up their hand and be like, hey, Johnny was missing for a quarter. If Johnny didn't go out for that quarter, we may have won that game. But again, a win is a win and a loss is a loss. And here we are in week 3, Northwood Stadium, Minnesota Legends versus San Diego Mavericks. Also known, if people didn't know, the O'Neal Bowl. Our teammate, Brookie Bird, is the wife of San Diego Mavericks coach, 2K4 connoisseur, Mike O'Neal. So at the convention, she was like, we got to kick his ass by any means necessary. So we got to make that happen for Brooke and spoil the Mavericks' early season success.
Yes.
Let's preview that matchup, fellas.
So I had checked in. I'd heard. I did not watch the game at the time that I heard that they had gotten 8. Bob Funk was promoting that they had gotten 8 picks in that game, and so I'm like, wow, that they must have won by a huge amount. And then I went and saw the score, 33-10, and I'm like, how do you get 8 picks but only put up 33 points? That's 8 extra drives, right? So I was a little confused, and it wasn't, I saw the completion percentage for the passing attack, and I think it was less than 40% completion.
39.
So I think they're starting to figure out their running game a little bit more. It sounds like they are able to, divide up their runs between McWaffle, Suda Nakai, Mateo Privado. I think that is how you pronounce his name.
No, it's McWaffle. If I'm not mistaken, let me go run down their depth chart real quick. It's McWaffle, Nakai, Privado, and Rob Noel.
Okay.
They are the 4 tailbacks in that offense. In the game against San Diego, McWaffle had 52, Noel had 37 on the ground. McWaffle had a touchdown, and Nakai had 5 attempts to 7. So they spread it out pretty even. That looks to be about 27 attempts for under 100 yards. So and so that was they had 1 offensive touchdown on the ground and 2 in the air. So that accounts for 21 points. So they're 31.
Gotcha. And it looked like they had a couple passing, maybe at least one, I think, to Robo, maybe. Either way, I feel like they're starting to get a little bit better at how they disperse their running. I don't think they figured out the right packages or plays to to get them the yardage that they're seeking on the ground. And I just don't think that they are capitalizing on the ability of Johnny Pickler and their wide receivers. I think the struggle is the game planning. I think, and which I think I'm hoping that we can reap the benefits of.
Agree with our
defense. Yes. Our defense should hopefully be able to strong arm them, and hopefully we see a fun game.
Absolutely. Jason,
I think
Frossil.
I was just gonna say
Either one.
I think we need to be careful though not to underestimate them rushing, because I think Pickler's speed is 72, so he adds a little spur to that if they can roll him out.
Yeah, he had 2 attempts, but for none though. So
yeah, but if they can figure out their
playbook.
game planning, then their rushing attack on paper could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, even like Hunter McWaffle, almost $4 million back right there, and in simming against him last week and this week, he does somehow be able, like, he can make some things happen. I just don't think it comes through during game day for them. But again, we are simming for what they could be, and hoping that they fall short, if that makes sense. So definitely not on the simming side. We're definitely not sleeping on them. So
at all.
Yeah.
So
one of the things.
Go ahead,
BJ.
Before that, really quick question: how would you compare him to what you saw out of Brad Jones?
I think Brad Jones has the extra break tackle. I think where Hunter McWaffle's cost comes in, is maybe some stamina, consistency. He's got 92 speed, 86 agility, where Colin, our back, is 88 speed, 83 agility. So he's faster. He's more agile. Doesn't have he's lacking in the break tackle, so you're not seeing him break tackles as much as Colin Hart or Brad Jones are. So that first and or second hit, or if we tag team tackle him, he tends to go down. Suda Nakai is a slightly different beast. He's a little bit smaller back, equally as mousy and elusive as Hunter McWaffle. But again, it's just, are they able to, it's finding what works consistently, and I'm hoping that they haven't figured it out by when we play on Sunday.
Agreed. And Jason?
I was just going to say, yeah, if you look at them on paper, they're a very decent team. Mm-hmm. They've put up very decent numbers, and not one side, the offense or the defense really stands out against each other, which almost makes planning for them and what they could potentially do a little bit more tricky. Obviously, if you've got a team that is, in the first 2 weeks, nothing but offense, that's what you're going to focus on. But when you've got a very decent team that seems to do very decent on both sides of the ball, that's a huge pain, and almost a reason to kind of really watch out. And that's why this particular matchup is really intriguing to me, because what they did week 1, that was a lot closer game than it looked like it was, at the end of the day, when you go back and watch it. And then on top of that, they kept a close game against Arizona as well, by playing very decent football on both sides of the ball consistently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're probably we the last 2 weeks we played 2 of the deeper teams in SFL. They have personnel across the board that can affect the game and change the game in many different avenues.
Yeah, I think that both teams now, San Diego, both teams that they've played are now 2-0, and both teams that we have played are now 2-0. So,
well, one of the teams we played are 2-0, and we beat Indy, so they're 1-1. So,
right. Yep. See, I already forgot we played.
And looking at them in comparison to also Indy and ACA, San Diego has 4 contract linemen. just like Indianapolis does. And last week's ACA, they had 5 contract offensive linemen, and so you know, it is a little daunting, a little scary. You know, could they? You know, the potential is there. Like that's no joke. It's can we? I'm glad we're catching them in week 3 and not in week 7 or 8.
Agreed. And I mean that I feel like that's going to be the tail of the tape for our divisional matchups anyway. We play the West and the South.
Yep.
They're two of the more with Arizona in that West Division, San Diego in that West Division. They're something to be messed with. Denver going to be a younger team. They can be scrappy.
Yeah, you can't. They've proved that you can't sleep on them. They're not the Denver of last season or two. So,
and Vegas, Jesus Christ, what they did in week 1 was ridiculous. And then you got the South. While Mexico City's 0-2, can't ever underestimate Ramos and his coaching ability and the build of players he has out that way. You got Houston, who slaughtered their opponent in week 1, although it's week 1, but they have what most would say is a pretty decent offensive build as a team. Then you have ACA, who we went to war with in week 2, although we came up on the short end of the stick. And then the last team in that division is
Fort Worth. They're flying high. Yeah.
They're 2-0. So it's a daunting schedule for us playing both these divisions and including our own, as we have a home and home with Indy. One we took already, but facing them at the end of this, I think we got them week 8, week 8 or 9,
something like that. Yeah.
So the schedule they packed the schedule on us this year, so it's gonna be tough sledding, but I think we got the team to do it.
Agreed.
Yeah, we've already shown that we can keep a close game close and that we can do ridiculous numbers as well. So
blow the doors off some opponents. So anything's
one way
possible.
to put it for sure.
Pun intended.
Literally, pun intended.
I hope so.
I think those doors got left in Cincinnati. Heyo. So, in closing remarks, fellas, so far on the season, almost through the quarter pole.
Yeah, I like where we're at. I like what we've done. Personal gains notwithstanding, we are in a very similar position to where we left off last year, despite the changes that have been made to the league, and that's huge. You see teams so far, either taking a bit of a step back to learn the new system in the league, or taking advantage of it. And the fact that we've been able to kind of keep an even keel, ride the same ride that we were on for the last 2 seasons, is huge. There's no ebb and flow. It's a nice, even, steady. This is just the football we play. It doesn't matter what platform it's on. So I've seen great things. I have nothing but the utmost trust in our coaching staff. I've never faltered with those guys, and I can expect to continue to see more of the same.
Agreed. Frossil, what have you seen that you like so far, and what would you like to see moving forward?
I think I'm pretty excited about the team overall for such a young team. I mean, we've only been around for a few seasons. It's nice to see the depth of roster we have. It's nice to see the activity we have in Discord and how we talk with each other. So I think that is something that can last a while, which makes me happy if I can stay with the team, just because it's like you guys were kind of saying, it's almost like a family where everybody chats, they have fun. So I just like the environment overall. As a team playing, I just think it's nice that we've been, since you guys have been created, you've been competitive, which is kind of cool to me. I like how right out of the gate, which means coaching is doing their job, and we're getting better each year, which is nice to see.
We've made the playoffs 100% of our season.
Now we just need to get that elusive playoff win.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned...
hopefully we don't turn into was it the Atlanta Braves for like 30 years? They never won a playoff game.
Oh my God, yeah. Shout out to Axel, Jay, Daniel.
Yep.
Everyone who's helping out with coaching.
Derek's coming on, doing some scouting.
Yeah, Derek is coming on and getting familiar with things, and gotta love the help that we've always said from the inception. Many hands make light work, so we appreciate you all in the Minnesota locker room.
Yeah, Nicholas, you've been a great addition. You've been helping. You know, that's why I love just seeing, you know, the people coming together, whether that's to celebrate or to, you know, earlier today mourn, or to be supportive of each other, and to, you know, just share our lives together, which is just, you know, I can't ask for anything more from as an owner or co-owner, and as a player, as the human person behind this player. Just means it's the difference between, you know, a good locker room and a great locker room. So, let's see. You know, I want to be able, you know, So offense for us has been, you know, over a couple seasons, has been sort of our weird Achilles heel that, you know, it's not been, you know, running on all 8 cylinders kind of thing. Like there's a little bit of stuff, you know, we saw pretty good, you know, week 1 was great to see. It was, you know, fairly balanced, but I still want to see more. I know that we've got more potential, especially in the passing realm. So, you know, and we're doing all of our running without a fullback. Colin Hart is our lone back in the backfield. We've got Jay Hayden filling in at fullback when he's not at his tight end 2 position. But we've got these 4 wide receivers and 2 tight ends that I'd love to make better use of, and that's my hope in the future. Again, as you know, win for our team, it comes number 1. And then from that, then everything else is frosting. But I'd love to have that frosting spell out, you know, great reception, wide receivers and stuff. I don't know. But anyways, that's my hope for the future. And us.
You did fine last week.
Oh, good. It was all to you. That was built into Jason Francis' contract, as he needs to get 100+ yards every game.
I think we settled on every other.
Okay, good. That means I can skip this week.
Work.
No.
Hell no.
But I'm excited. You know, again, this will be a, you know, for me, yes, there was a change in leadership at San Diego, but I'm actually, like, as I'm talking to you right now, wearing a San Diego Mavericks shirt, because I was from there. You know, my second season playing in the league was with the Mavericks. And again, there's some good ties. You know, Dave Axis is a good person, but you know, I want to see their team go down. And just like Brookie said, we're gonna come take that W, even if it means, you know, pound it on their face. So,
right. So, obviously, everybody wants to win. I'll take a win over anything in a heartbeat. I retired my player this past offseason to spread the wealth and get the right people into the locker room. And so being a player was fine and cool for me, but my ultimate goal in game was team building and being an owner. People ask me all the time, man, how did it feel to retire? Like, did it take, because some people say not having a player might take the love away from the league for them. Not having a player made my love for the league even greater, because I want to see the people I brought together succeed together. So being a GM, owner / team builder was the thing for me. So to see where we are at this point, well, wow, I think all of us in here would love to see 2-0, but to see a competitive 1-1 moving forward, I have nothing but positive and amazing thoughts about where this team can go and will be going moving forward in season 21.
Here, here.
Yeah, and being at the convention, we'll just make this all one big full circle, right? Being at the convention was great to be able to hear from others in the league how much they respect our team and what we've put on the field and what we do off the field, and how much respect they have for us as individuals and players, as a collection, right? That was really apparent, and I'm really proud of us as a team, as every single individual, and how you contribute to the look and how people see us as a team, again, on and off the field, is just gets directly back to what you were saying, BJ, of like building a family together, like building a franchise, an organization.
Yep. Shout out to everyone who we met at the convention. Juan was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Jason was one of my favorites. The Meerkats were my favorites. Axel, you and your wife were amazing. Who am I missing? Mickey. Oh, shit, Mickey.
He's probably on a cruise right now.
Oh my God, the guy is a ball of confidence and a bigger ball of energy, bro. I don't know how you put on that damn costume and sweat it out. Brooke as well. Brooke came in and she just was a walking billboard for the legend, man, and I loved it.
So true.
And it was great meeting all of the ones that came. To those that didn't come out, go try your hardest to make it to the next one. It's a blast. It's like a community coming together and like showing love, and that was amazing for me in my moment that I was having at the convention. But it was a great time with all of you, for sure.
And fans out there, don't forget to get your official uniforms and new baseball jerseys and things over at our Evo 9X store. You can find the link down in the description. Haha. Shameless plug.
That new Evo football jersey.
Sheet pop, baby. Yeah, go get all your merchandise from the Spread Shop and the Evo 9X store. And on behalf of myself, BJ Loveless, Axel Raven, Jason France, Nicholas Frossil, we are out of here. See you on the field in week 3. San Diego, we coming, baby.